to pray. There's no angels where I go, only pieces that are broken, scattered dreams across the floor. I'm home.
Alrighty, hello everybody, this is Kirsho here. Now then, let us begin. Where we last left off, Momo, and Deku, they whooped Kirishima and Kendo's ass in the Heroes vs. Villains exam. Now afterwards, this is whenever Kendo, she would immediately just run downstairs and check on Kirishima and Deku. She's actually asking them if they're okay and why are they so, well, tough. They would have to explain that they do a lot of training, which she's fairly impressed by. As Deku, he immediately just brings up his shoulder and immediately just pops it back into place. Kirishima was staring at Deku and he's asking him if he's okay, and he would just say he's fine. It's just that his body went numb for a second, so he didn't notice that. Oh, alright then. As Kendo's just staring at Deku. She sees Deku as a very strong person, so she would actually ask Deku what does he do for training. Deku would just start explaining every single thing, and a lot of people on comms and, well, and even her don't believe him. Until Momo would walk back into the room, saying that that's exactly what they all do. In fact, some of it's crazy. It's why we're all so fast and why we're all so strong. All of you? Well, yeah. Now, with that being said, let us cut to the USJ. If not the bus. Now, everyone is talking, and Deku and Momo are just sitting next to each other, as a lot of people would notice that these two are being, well, they're awfully close. This is whenever someone would just ask if they're a couple or not. Momo and Deku would just have to verify yes, as this somewhat shocks the class. These two are in the same friends group, they're a couple, and they're both in the same class. So that's either a lot of confidence or just a very strong coincidence. Which, let's be honest, it's not. Now, Deku and everyone, they're explaining different parts of their quirks, along with someone actually asking Deku about his adaptability. Deku would have to explain it better. Now, Deku would have to explain it better as he can basically adapt to any opponent or any environment you set him in. This would kind of confuse people as they just ask what he means. He would just go on explaining exactly what they think he means. If you were to set me in a jungle or a forest, basically my muscles, they can adapt to the point where I can jump through trees. In fact, I can even form claws on my fingers to help me, well, get through them easier. In fact, I don't think I've done it before, but I think I might be able to make a tail to at least help myself hang. If not hang on a branch. I'm not very sure, but one of the craziest things I've adapted to, I once grew 7 feet tall. What did you have to adapt to? Well, he did have to get out of the river, as Momo would just say, in somewhat of a haste. They're a bit confused by what they mean river. Now, I don't know if you guys can hear that in the background, but I checked my recording and apparently you guys should not. Now, what I mean by what Momo would say by what she means get out of the river, she would just say that Deku, whenever they were younger, he once fell into the river and he tried to adapt. He kept trying to make gills, or he did make gills before, but even then, not being able to get out because of the sharp rocks made his skin rougher, and then he eventually started growing tall enough to where his feet can reach the bottom. this actually somewhat impresses people, as that's not really a lie, but it's just, well, it's a lie, yes, but it's partially true. Just the fact being, he adapted under something different. Now, with that being said, Deku, he would then hear Aizawa say that they're here, as they would all walk out. Everyone does have their hunting gear, they just don't have it set on lethal. If not, they just don't have the blades out. Now, Deku actually does carry his 2 knives that he has from the Yaojas. He just has them basically compacted down, if not folded together in his belt. So, this is whenever they would walk in, and Deku's mask immediately alerts him to something wrong, as his mask is telling him that a lot of things are wrong with the electrical systems in the USJ. With that being said, this is where he would see one thing. He would start seeing the portal open up, as he is immediately... Now, Deku is immediately thinking that if he can take them down, if not hunt down the villains, this should be fairly easy. Now, this is whenever Shigaraki would just show up, as he would just announce that they are here to kill All Might. And they are bummed out that he is not really here, so they'll settle for the next best thing, ruining UA's image by killing all the students. Now, this is whenever Shigaraki, he immediately orders the villains to attack, as Eraserhead would jump in. Now, as Eraserhead comes in to fight, this is whenever Deku, he would immediately turn around and immediately start, speaking in Yaoja. He would just say that everyone needs to split up, if not try and stick together. They all know their parents, so that is going to work. As soon as that happens, they immediately start breaking up, as everyone else in UA is confused at what they just said. They all are able to understand each other, so that's at least a good thing, right? Now, this is whenever Deku and everyone else start jumping in, fighting against the villains, taking them down and actually adapting to some of their fighting styles. If not with the fact that they're all basically brawlers, if not, some of them don't actually learn, they just rely on their quirks. Deku and everyone will take down about 10% of them in 5 minutes, if not 2 minutes, which is whenever Shigaraki just says one thing. He orders Korgiri to summon the Nomu. The Nomu would be summoned as he would appear. Now, as soon as the Nomu appears, this is whenever Shigaraki also orders for all those students to be split up, which is whenever Deku and everyone would be teleported. Deku, he's immediately falling to the air as he does one thing. He takes his smart disc off of his belt and immediately just lets go of them, as they begin to hover. I would say he holds on to them so that they can keep his body weight, but he would just let go of them as they would start flying toward the villains. Now, another thing that happens is Deku, he immediately goes into a dive as he would land in the water. With that, Deku, he immediately just grows a pair of gills as he is looking around. His eyes beginning to adapt, he would see a shark. As the shark would come straight to Deku, Deku would immediately just sock it in the face as the guy is passed out. As he begins to swim over to the boat, taking down any villains that do try and attack him on the way. Sue would already be on the boat as she's trying to figure out a good tactic. Deku, he would just hop on as Mei, if not, Momo, she would jump onto the boat. Now, this is whenever Deku, he would immediately be looking around at the water as someone would just say one thing. How are they going to get out of here? Oh. well, we might have to reveal our tech. Actually, for the sake of this, both May and Momo are on the boat. Now, May would just say that if they're going to have to reveal their tech, then I'm going to need to do something real quick. As she immediately takes off her wrist bracers and begins to modify them, if not pull out a screwdriver from her belt. Now, as she's doing this is whenever Momo, she's just looking down at what she's doing, and she immediately realizes. As she tells Deku as soon as she gets done, they're going to need to leave. Deku would listen, as May would finally get done with it, and they would all immediately just jump off the boat, as they are now back at the mainland. As soon as that happens, Kirigiri would ask if Shigaraki would just ask if it's ready yet, which Kirigiri would just say no. It is not, but the Nomu will be here. So just give it a command and it will follow. Shigaraki, he would just see Deku as he orders the Nomu to kill that boy. The Nomu would immediately start rushing over to Deku, as Momo, she would immediately bring her hand up, creating something blocking the blow. As soon as that happens, Deku would watch as Momo gets sent flying back into the water. As Deku, he immediately just pulls out his wrist blades and slashes upwards, cutting through the Nomu's arm. As the villain is quite confused. What the hell? Deku, he immediately just brings out his other bracer as he just brings his hands up, saying that he's not just some hero. Oh, what the fuck. So you're one of those heroes, aren't you? Now you're making me wonder what your quirk is to require you to use blades. Oh, my quirk. Don't worry about that. Just focus on the fight. As the Nomu would just start trying to throw more punches at Deku. Deku, he immediately starts dodging it as him, May, and Momo, they would all be fighting against the Nomu. Momo would actually come back in with 50% of one for all, actually throwing a punch at it as that does nothing. This is whenever Deku, he would just see that, and he immediately begins to try adapting. He immediately just starts having his skin turn to rubber as he immediately just does one thing. He starts also growing bones from his body, as he immediately comes to attack the Nomu. Shigaraki is watching this and he's thinking that the boy has the same quirks as the Nomu, which fairly impress him. Now, May, she immediately just tells everyone to get down as everyone just jumps away. Her beginning to blast the Nomu with the plasma caster and the engineer one, as the Nomu immediately just starts getting holes put through it, if not punched through it, as May actually did take out both its arms. Now, Shigaraki's in shock as Kirishima and Bakugo would immediately rush in, along with Todoroki. Now, whenever that happens, this is whenever Kirishima and Bakugo, they would immediately rush past the Nomu as they immediately begin to go after, the portal guy. They think that everyone should be able to hold off the Nomu. If not, Deku should be fine. Now, as soon as that happens, the Nomu immediately begins to regenerate. As Bakugo and everyone would see this, Todoroki would start blasting ice at it, as he does so with both sides, immediately encasing the Nomu. The Nomu would begin to break through it as Deku, he starts to try adapting more, as his body actually does grow up in size, becoming the size of the Nomu. He immediately just starts doing one thing, as his wrist gauntlets are actually at their breaking point. As he just pulls out his staff, he would immediately just disconnect it, bringing out the two swords. As soon as that happens, he would immediately rush into the Nomu, as he would just stab them upwards, coming through the Nomu's arms, trying to rip it apart, if not destroy it even more. The Nomu would just be blasting at Deku's gut with as much force as possible, as these two are just going back and forth, slugging it out. Deku is actually feeling his ribs break as the Nomu is doing this. So he would immediately just let go of his swords as he would just jump backwards. His smart disc would come in and they would actually try scraping against the Nomu as they actually do have their blades out. slashing into the Nomu's arms if not into its neck. This does nothing as Momo just comes in behind it, smashing it upwards into its spine, trying to get it. That doesn't work, so she immediately brings out her own gauntlets as she starts stabbing into the Nomu, trying to tear it apart. This is having some effect as the Nomu, he actually does bring his hand outward and tries to smash it down. Deku immediately getting in the way as he actually does have his elbow outwards. As soon as that happens, the Nomu, it would have broken his arm as Deku is just holding it there trying to fight against the Nomu. As the bone actually starts spiking outwards, stabbing into him. As that happens, Deku would just do one thing. He would just immediately grab. Ooh. He would just immediately just bring his arms up to behind his back, pulling out two, well, these are somewhat weird. They look like stakes, but they look like little boxes, if not little spherical boxes. Deku, he immediately just presses a button as he throws them outwards. These are Deku's whips, as he immediately turns them on, and people watches as the blades come out. Everyone immediately backs away as Mei just takes off her plasma caster and immediately just hands it over to Momo, if not taking off the entire bracer. Handing it over, Momo uses her arm and she immediately begins firing at it with Mei. As these two are doing that, Mina, she's trying to run in to help, but she's a little preoccupied helping other students. Now, that just hurt. Shinsho would actually come in as he does try to protect everyone by picking up all the villains. But Deku is left with the Nomu, as Shinsho would just be putting all the villains together, if not throwing them into the water, to keep them contained. He does try to brainwash the Nomu, if not look into its head, but it's mindless. So, there is his biggest challenge. With that, Deku, he immediately just starts throwing his blades as much force as he can at the Nomu, ripping through it and actually tearing through some of its skin, as he is trying to fight with it. The Nomu is having none of that, as it would actually just come in, punching Deku in the face and actually overpowering him, as that force actually broke Deku's nose. Deku is somewhat letting go of his weapons as he actually does fall backwards to the ground. His skin stops adapting as he's actually reached a breaking point with his quirk. His body has never had to adapt to this type of level before. In fact, he's making massive leaps and jumps with strength, power, and every single thing he's doing, as his body is trying to compensate. His rubber skin would wear off as the Nomu immediately just picks Deku up and throws him over his shoulder. Deku is flying as he gets sent through a building, as he's immediately just laying there in a wall, as he actually does have a piece of rebar stabbing through his chest. He immediately just starts bringing his hands up as he does push his body off of the rebar. As he does so, he's coughing up quite a bit of blood. Now, in the distance, if not in space, there is actually some people watching, as they are seeing Deku fight. They've seen this boy get beaten down, pulverized, and even impaled. Even then, he is not stopping. Truly a great predator. Truly a valuable warrior. Now, with that being said, this is whenever Momo, she still is trying to rip and tear into the Nomu as she would actually get close, stabbing her bracers in, blasting off the plasma caster. The Nomu, he is just getting annoyed as he would finally bring his hand up, smashing it down into Momo's shoulder, breaking her arm and part of her ribcage. As in response, she would just immediately scream as she brings her left arm out, smashing him with 100%, sending him flying to the other side of the USJ. As she would just drop to her knees, she is out of commission. She Well, the Nomu broke her plasma caster by smashing her in the arm like that. Along with that, Deku, he is trying to get up. He's gotten off of the rebar, but he still has the hole in his chest that is currently being patched. He just looks outside as he watches the Nomu get sent flying. Now, this is whenever an ally would show up. There is a predator standing directly in the middle of the USJ, as it is just looking around. It is concerned. If not, it's really interested in what the Nomu is. So it just immediately come in, blasting at it with the plasma caster, trying to slash through it with its blades, and doing what it can. The Predator, she's finding it a bit difficult as the Nomu is actually overpowering her, if not, well, laying into her as much as possible. This is whenever the Predator would have their gear blasted, if not taken away. Whenever the Nomu does pick her up and immediately starts smashing her into the ground, breaking her mask and actually ripping off her plasma caster. She then gets sent flying where the Nomu throws her through a building, actually hurting her quite badly. Deku is concerned and wondering why there's a Yautja here, as All Might would finally burst through the door. Now, Kirigiri, he would just finally say that Shigaraki would just ask if it's finally ready. Kirigiri would say no, it's not. But they do need to run tests on it. Which is when Shigaraki just gets annoyed. They would immediately just think that if they can kill All Might here then, they won't need it. Which is when All Might and the Nomu, they would begin their extended fight. The Nomu being injured a bit and actually worn down, because I do believe it still does have stamina. I want to say its fight would not be as close with All Might. In fact, it wouldn't even have a chance to make a portal. Because Kirigiri and Tomura, they are dealing with Bakugo and Kirishima. Bakugo dealing with Kirigiri, holding him down so he cannot open portals and be a tricky bastard. Now, everyone else, they're just watching as All Might would finally send the Nomu flying with a 1,000,000% smash, as he does not have that injury to his side that Nomu caused in canon. Now, Deku would finally be walking back onto the battlefield as All Might would see him covered in blood, and he just sees him completely, basically eviscerated, if not completely injured, as Deku is just walking back over. All Might, he would just immediately say that they need medical attention, as Deku just immediately just drops to his knees and slumps his head over to Momo, asking her if she's okay. She's just in too much pain right now, so she just say that she'll be fine. They just need to go see Recovery Girl. Along with the fact that explain why that Yautja's here. Now, this is whenever they would go to Recovery Girl and finally get healed. As Deku, he would find the Yautja, if not pull her aside for explanation, after her quirk was analyzed by Recovery Girl as being a reptilian. Now, this is whenever Momo, she would actually walk up to the Yautja and ask her why she's even here, if not, they're all asking questions. The Yautja would just say that they are an elite warrior. In fact, they've just recently become elites. And she has heard of the human's noble fights, if not everything he's ever done. So, she would like one thing, as she would just say a marriage proposal, because the human is the strongest. If not, this one's quirk will be fitted for the Yautja. Now, Momo is completely confused and in shock as she's not even sure what to say. Except for one thing. She would just yell at the Yautja that that's not going to happen. Her and Deku are already a couple, and the fact is, she's going to have to fight her for him. Which Deku's a bit confused by. He's never heard Momo talk like this. Which is whenever the Yaoja would just quite simply say, deal. Now then, this is a bit of a predicament Deku finds himself in. There is a Yaoja that sees Deku as a worthy, well, there's no real way to get around this. They see Deku as a worthy mate. In fact, he's also the strongest. Because any predator he's ever fought against, if not any situation he's been put in, he's been able to win, over-exceed, and actually has proven to be stronger than an elite, giving him massive potential. And the fact is, he is a human with a human lifespan. So he is considered to be a very great warrior. But he will be gone from this world too soon to get anywhere in the Yaoja Empire. Now, this is whenever Aizawa, he would have given the explanation back in class that they'll have 2 weeks for the sports festival. So, this is whenever Momo, she's still trying to figure out how to fight the Predator, if not to fight for Deku. But that will be a different story. If not, for the next part. Now then, I do hope you guys enjoyed the video and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys